Welcome to Daily Overdose.
Today, I stand before you to talk about a topic that has touched the lives of countless individuals across the world: men after losing everything. It's a theme that resonates deeply with the human experience, and one that demands our attention and empathy. Loss is something every person will face, but the experience of men in particular can often go unnoticed. When we think of loss, we tend to imagine individuals crumbling under the weight of it, uncertain of their path forward. But in the case of men, the loss of everything, whether it be relationships, wealth, career, or even self-worth, can be particularly challenging. It is a moment that forces them to confront the very core of their identity. From the outside looking in, men who lose everything may seem like they have hit rock bottom. They may appear as though they've been shattered beyond repair. Yet, within that brokenness, there is something profound happening. A rediscovery of self, a fight for meaning, and a battle for the will to keep going. In many societies, men are taught to be strong, resilient, and unwavering. They are conditioned to shoulder burdens quietly, to show little emotion, and to bear their struggles in solitude. When everything falls apart, however, these societal expectations become suffocating. The strength they once relied on may no longer feel like enough. To lose everything is to be confronted with a terrifying emptiness. For many men, this emptiness is not just the loss of material wealth, but the loss of purpose, the loss of vision, the loss of self. Without the things that once defined them, jobs, relationships, status, who are they? This question, painful as it is one that each man must answer for himself. The fear of being seen as weak is often one of the greatest obstacles. Men, after losing everything, are forced to reckon with their vulnerability. And while vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, it is, in fact, a tremendous source of strength. It is the willingness to face one's fears, to embrace uncertainty, and to allow oneself to feel that marks the beginning of true healing. It's crucial to understand that the emotional struggles men face in the aftermath of a loss are not simply a matter of overcoming a bad situation. The pain runs deeper. There's a psychological weight, a sense of shame that often accompanies the experience of failure, especially in a society that prizes success above all else. This shame can prevent many from reaching out for help, perpetuating a cycle of isolation. But in this very isolation, there is an opportunity for profound transformation. When a man faces his worst fears alone, he is also given the chance to rediscover the power that lies within him. It is a kind of rebirth. He can rebuild his life from the ground up, taking the lessons from the rubble of what once was. In the silence that follows loss, a man often begins to ask himself the big questions. What really matters? What is my true purpose? How do I define success and happiness? These moments of deep introspection can lead to an awakening, a shift in perspective that moves away from material success and toward a more meaningful, fulfilling life. Through this journey of self-exploration, many men find strength they didn't know they had. The qualities of resilience, perseverance, and courage are not built when everything is going well, but in the face of adversity. The men who emerge from the darkest times are often the ones who have learned to face their demons head-on and walk forward despite them. However, it's important to note that this process is not linear. There is no set timeline for healing. For some men, the pain of loss may linger far longer than they expect, and the road to recovery may seem endless. They may stumble, they may fall, but it is in the act of getting up again that they prove their strength. There is no shame in falling. There is only shame in not rising again. And as we look at the men who have lost everything and are in the process of rebuilding, we must remind them of their intrinsic worth, of the fact that their value is not tied to the things they have lost, but to who they are as human beings. Moreover, we as a society must be better equipped to support men during these trying times. We must create spaces for them to express their emotions without fear of judgment. We must show them that it is okay to lean on others, to ask for help, and to take the time they need to heal. It is critical that we reject the toxic narrative that men must always man up and carry the weight of the world on their shoulders alone. At the same time, men must also learn to embrace their emotions, to lean into their vulnerability, and to understand that losing everything does not diminish their value. In fact, it can open the door to a richer, fuller life, one built not on external achievements, but on internal peace and self-acceptance. The support systems we create for men in these times of hardship are essential. We need communities, friends, and family to stand by them, not to fix them, but to listen and offer encouragement. Often, a simple gesture, a compassionate word, or a quiet presence can make all the difference. It is through these relationships that men can rebuild, finding new ways to define themselves and their worth. The act of being supported can be a humbling but also empowering experience, and it reminds men that they are not alone in their struggles. However, self-reliance also plays a key role in recovery. There's a fine balance between leaning on others and developing the internal resources necessary to heal. The road to recovery requires introspection, patience, and self-compassion. A man must learn to forgive himself, to release the shame or guilt that may have come with the loss. This self-forgiveness is often the hardest step, letting go of the weight of past mistakes and allowing oneself to start anew. Furthermore, the pain of loss often leads men to reassess their relationships with success. In many cases, their identity is tied to achievements, whether in their career, their finances, or their role as providers. The loss of these things can cause an existential crisis, forcing men to redefine what truly matters in their lives. Success is no longer measured by what they've built, but by the person they have become. It's an evolution from external validation to internal fulfillment. As we look to the future, we must continue to challenge the stereotypes and stigmas around men and their emotions. We must encourage a new narrative, one where it is okay to fail, to fall, and to rebuild. Men should be empowered to embrace their full humanity, not just the aspects of themselves that align with society's expectations. In doing so, we can help create a world where men, after losing everything, emerge as stronger, more authentic versions of themselves. The road after loss is often fraught with setbacks. There are moments when it seems easier to give up than to keep going. There are times when doubt and fear threaten to swallow everything in sight. But it is precisely in those moments that men can choose to rise above, to fight through the darkness, and to rebuild their lives in ways they never imagined. As they rise, they do so not as broken individuals, but as warriors who have faced their own mortality and come out the other side. Stronger, they emerge with a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. They are no longer defined by the things they have lost, but by the strength they found within to rise again. When men lose everything, they stand on the precipice of transformation. It is a painful journey, but it is also an opportunity for growth, for self-discovery, and for the creation of a life that is more authentic, more grounded, and more meaningful than ever before. The true power of a man lies not in what he has, but in what he is able to become in the face of adversity. The journey of rebuilding after loss is not easy. There are no shortcuts, no guarantees. But the one thing that men must hold on to is this: they are not defined by their losses, but by their capacity to keep moving forward. Each step, no matter how small, is a victory. Each moment of doubt overcome is a triumph. Let us all recognize that men, like all human beings, are vulnerable, capable of great pain, but also capable of incredible strength and transformation. When everything is lost, what remains is the possibility of rebirth. And in that rebirth, men can find a new purpose, a new sense of self, and a new understanding of what it means to be truly alive. Thank you.
Thank you for watching our videos. Please like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss another video.